So why is attention important for advertisers?
Attention is important for advertisers because reach has become massively fragmented over the past 20 years. Since the advent of digital, advertisers have been very fixated on who they're reaching, sometimes resulting in a loss of focus on how those consumers are reached. And at the same time, there's been a massive fragmentation in media consumption patterns, and all the different formats that are used to reach consumers have become it's become a lot more important to measure the quality of that reach, and attention metrics create an opportunity to do that for advertisers.
How would you describe the state of attention today? There's obviously a lot of conversation. It's a topic at a lot of events. Do you feel like the sort of actions are meeting that the dialogue?
Yeah, so I think that we're sort of in this in-between phase of attention metrics, where we're moving out of sort of more research and laboratory environments into more scaled production. And critical to that is disentangling the impacts of different things like creative, media, and audience. And in order to really scale attention metrics, it's important to break those things apart and understand all of their individual contributions.
Mm-hmm. Should we be combining creative attention and media attention to make better decisions?
I think that they should be. I don't think that creative, audience, and media should be rolled up into one sort of meta attention metric, because anytime you have a KPI, which is the product of several different stakeholders, you run into a situation where there's some perverted incentives that are created, right? Like when it comes to attention metrics, you probably don't want to optimize towards the maximum amount of attention, especially when it comes to audience, because you'll run into an issue where you get audiences who are over-indexing for pre-existing awareness, or who are on an older demographic. And on the creative side, there's plenty of ways to capture a lot of attention onto a creative that is not in the best service of the brand. So I think that it's really, really important to unpack attention metrics and understand how they influence creative and audience and media separately.
Who should be paying for attention metrics, or does it depend on the situation, the advertiser, what they're measuring?
I don't know who should be paying for attention metrics. I think that today in the media world, attention metrics are used for arbitrage. And so because of that, I think that it's probably better suited for media buyers to pay for the attention metrics that are used to evaluate the quality of media. But as we move from a world of arbitrage to a world of currency, it probably makes sense for media sellers to be involved in the conversation more, and to pay and to be sort of involved in the remuneration for attention metrics.
Great. Who is doing attention measurement well, or who's leading the conversation on a brand level, or the industry organizations, or the providers themselves?
So I think that today we're seeing the most interesting applications of attention metrics coming out of brands and agencies, just because we're in this sort of arbitrage phase, where there's a lot of, let's just say that price and quality are pretty well dislocated, which means that there's a lot of opportunity for arbitrage. So we're seeing buyers start to put attention metrics into their DSPs. We're seeing it put into MMM models, and we're starting to see buyers hold sellers accountable for the quality of their media based in attention metrics. And as that starts to happen, we're seeing the sell side adopt attention metrics and start to sort of price discriminate different qualities of media using attention metrics, and tranche their media or put their media into different tranches using attention metrics. So I think that we're sort of we're at this very slow pivot where we're starting to see the alpha that's available for this arbitrage start to diminish as price starts to approach value. And as that happens, we'll see a shift from arbitrage to currency, and we'll start to see the sell side engage more and do more interesting things with attention metrics.
Looking forward to the next 5 years, what are some key trends, or just general predictions? More, as you said at the beginning, going from the lab to going to practical applications, becoming a currency. Like, what are the thing? Call it predictions, call it things you'll be watching in the next couple of years as this matures.
I think that the industry is at a point now where we have proven beyond a doubt that attention metrics are better proxies for media quality than the status quo, than viewability and video completion rate and so on. So we've crossed that pretty important hurdle. And now we need to see attention metrics spread into as many different mediums as possible, right? So at Adelaide, we just released coverage for podcasts, and we're going to do digital out of home soon. And we really want to see an apples to apples currency evolve out of attention metrics so that a brand can look across all of their media spend and understand varying quality. So that's the first way that I think that we'll see it. The second way is we'll see attention metrics go into every tool and system that advertisers have. So everything from their DSPs to MMM models to attribution and the sort of different ways of looking at media. I think that in every place where you see an impression count or a viewability rate, you'll start to see attention metrics show up. And then finally, at a more macro level, I think that the most interesting evolution of attention metrics will be from arbitrage to currency. And we have this really interesting opportunity in the media space to create a currency that comes out of market forces and out of arbitrage instead of out of a sort of a working group or an industry organization that sort of just anoints a metric as a currency. And that's important because a currency that comes out of arbitrage is much more durable and much more meaningful than just 50% on screen for 1 second.
Yep. Final question, just obviously brands, agencies are all on different paths towards attention adoption and expertise. What advice do you have for, if a executive at a brand that is just starting comes to you and says, how do I get up to speed on attention? What are the key things I need to know?
The most important thing is to dig deeper than just think about attention as the duration of gaze. Mm-hmm. Right? We see this sort of in the first wave of attention metrics. And, we saw this when we were working on Parsec. The founding team at Adelaide is the founding team at Parsec, where we were very fixated on the seconds of attention or attention time or the duration of gaze. And I think that in order for attention metrics to be more scaled and broadly applicable, advertisers need to disentangle how to use attention metrics to understand the various inputs towards gaze duration, right? So we need to look at the quality of media placements and how they contribute to attention. We need to look at what are the right audiences to be capturing through the lens of attention. And oftentimes in audiences, it's the least attentive audiences, right? It's the people that don't know about your brand or are less likely to pay attention. And then on the creative side, it's really looking at creative through the lens of attention, not sort of what creative can capture the maximum amount of attention, but what creative can hold attention for the amount of time that's necessary to present distinctive assets and sort of break through clutter. So I think that in order for a brand to really adopt attention metrics on a scaled basis, it's about moving beyond just the duration of gaze into what are the ways to understand the quality of the different inputs.
Great. All right, Marc, I think that's all I have, unless there was something I didn't ask that you really wanted to get across.
No, I think we covered it all. Thanks, Keith.